Hello, everyone out there. Just to do a little short video today. It'd be easier for me to do this in a video form than type everything out, so that's why I'm doing it this way. I'm gonna be addressing Geoffrey Grider now. The end begins again, hopefully for the last time. But there is something that happened the other day that I felt needed to be addressed, and I felt I should share with people. I had recommended Now the End Begins for years, and throughout the years, I kept seeing, more and more problems and more things. I'm like, I don't know, I don't know. And then, 2020, it just, in my opinion, really the train just fell off the tracks, and he just started going off into some crazy doctrine. And so for my website that I started up, with the help of the Lord and a bunch of other brethren that helped contribute, we have here the wine press, and our first article is actually exposing Now They Begins, and he actually got caught posting fake news, and you can read the article here if you haven't already, and I'll show some of this here in a moment. And again, just to show you where is he at? Again, this is Geoffrey Grider right here. This is what he looks like. He's recently decided to start growing out his hair, so I'm not even gonna go there. Definite scriptures against that. Read 1 Corinthians 11. And the King James, of course. But anyways, so I came out with this, exposing that, hey, Geoffrey Grider, he's caught posting fake news. And it's blatant. It's like blatant fake news. And some other things that he's just simply wrong about, and I cover that with some scriptures and everything else. So you can check that out there. And so I was just kind of, I was just going to let it go and say, okay, whatever, and move on. And then and I'll say this too. I even said in my article, hey, it's not like everything he says is wrong or something like that, And every once in a while, I'll still go through and peruse through his, his articles to see if he posted anything interesting and whatever else. Well, then I came across a comment that he had made, and I posted this over here in my study or report, whatever you want to call it, America, Land of the Slave, Home of the Sissy, and I exposed a comment he left someone where he was telling people that as Americans, we can defend ourselves, but as a Christian you can't. And I thought that's very ridiculous. And I show this just shows how this nation and the Christians, the ones that profess to be Christians, they are, as I said, they're pacifistic, slothful, pompous cowards. And I give a scripture, Proverbs 26 verse 13. The slothful man saith, there is a lion in the way, a lion is in the streets. Who look, danger, danger, but you don't want to stop the danger. You just you point it out, you complain about it, you whine about it, but you don't really do anything to stop it, and you actually end up feeding the lion. And but anyways, what happened here is so again, to a similar thing, I was going through and I was perusing one of his more recent articles. This was a few days ago on March 7th when he posted this. Talking about some more of the COVID stuff, and again, this thing right here, the wine press already covered this like almost over a week ago, which is fine. This isn't some race to who can get the news out. It's not about that. I'm just pointing that out. But anyways, which I'll explain here in a moment, because him and I actually had an interaction in the comment section. I called him out on blatant hypocrisy because I was not gonna stand by this much longer. Hopefully you can see that pretty good here, but this is the comment that admittedly, and I admit this in the comments to him, that it triggered me. It really made me upset. Where he said right here, I will not wear a mask. I will not take a jab. I will never allow him to put me in a safety pod, and he goes on from there. But the nonsense, in which again, right there, I will not wear a mask. That's, folks, for those that are watching, that's not true. That's not true, and I show this in the article after the blatant fake news, which I'll cover this in a moment because I call him out on this, and so I explain why I cannot endorse him. But then I say this: not only that, Grider has compromised to the draconian nonsense by face masking himself to make things even worse. He even provides a John 3:16 junk mask in his box of business cards. He has gospel tracts that are shaped like business cards, whatever, and he started selling a mask in the box with them. That is not how you witness for Jesus Christ whatsoever. Even an astute commenter calls him out in this. It says, quote, I'm confused. I read an article on here about the mask situation about a month ago. If I remember correctly, it was about how Costco implemented a mandatory mask policy for all shoppers. Also, if my memory serves me correctly, didn't you say something like, if they require a mask, they don't get my business? Now you're selling masks? Yeah, it's pretty hypocritical. And so this is the two things I called him out on right here. This is one where he's wearing the mask, and over here, and then this is the article where he started selling it. Now he must have tweaked the post, because I can't find the actual box of stuff he was selling where he had all the tracts and the Bibles and the face mask. So he must have taken it down or something, or just buried it or whatever. I can't find it. But I mean, he was clear doing it, as judged by the comment I left. I mean, someone called him out on that. So for him to say that I will not wear a mask, well, that's just not true. I mean, he's selling them, and he's worn them, and so it upset me. Like, what are you talking about? So naturally, I was really upset when I saw that, and I decided to call him out on it. Because I rarely ever commented on his stuff before, but it really irritated me when I saw it, and so I commented on it. And by the way, the reason I'm doing this now is because I've been busy with a few other things, and so I've had to put it off to the side. Other projects I'm working on. I've made those announcements on the Wine Press already, so I couldn't get to it. Now here's my comment. For those that are wondering, JT Does used to be my old alias for my YouTube channel. I changed that name years ago, but when this account was made, I named it that, and so I haven't changed it since then, like I said, because I rarely ever commented on Geoffrey Grider's thing. He uses a plugin called Discuss, and so that's where that is. So anyway, here's my comment. Again, I'll make a few comments here and there explaining some of this, because it goes back and forth, and I'll give a little more context what's going on as we go. So just stay with me. I will show definitively that he is a definite liar. I will show this here. So I quote him here, I will not wear a mask. I said, Grider, you are such a hypocrite. What do you mean you will not wear a mask? You have done articles where you were at the gym wearing a mask, which I just showed, even though you reiterated you would not. You even sell them in your witnessing package. But now you want to act like you were some fighter standing up against the tyranny. Before this post gets scrubbed, to all those reading this, check out winepressnews.com. You'll actually get non-political biased reports that are objective, and not some conservative patriot slant that kisses the toes of Trump while ignoring some of the most blatantly reprehensible acts he's done, and bash liberals all day long, pretending as if they are the seemingly only corrupt power in America. But you, Grider, would much rather make an income panning to conservatives telling them what they want to hear and not all the facts. Not to mention the fact you have been caught posting fake news. When Trump waved a Bible around in Washington, you lied saying it was a KJV, even though it clearly wasn't. And even after the comment section repeatedly called you out, you never corrected yourself or took it down. Now, I want you to understand something before I get to the comments. He does not address these other 2 points. He only will talk about this. But just to show you, too, that he lies. Now, he said, well, actually, you know what? Let me just show you his response. I get a bunch of people coming in and, basically attacking me, saying, oh, you're being mean and you're full of anger and hate and you need to stop judging him. And then he comes and says, oh, pray for him. He's angry and bitter and, yada, yada, yada. So then he responds by saying, yes, I have worn a mask when I was forced to in order to be allowed into a grocery store, but I do not wear one as a general practice. Just 2 weeks ago, I walked out of a restaurant that tried to force me to wear a mask, and yes, we sell them for... Now, pay attention to this. And yes, we sell them for other people who are forced to wear one. The masks are sold primarily as witnessing tools, not to comply with any regulation. And you talk pretty tough for someone too afraid to have a photo of themselves or even the real name, which I'll address that in my response in a moment. But now, I actually throw a quote at him from one of his articles. This is the quote where the thing where he starts selling it. Now this is the headline, or not the headline, but one of the paragraphs from his report. And here's what he says. You may stand empty-handed right now, but the good news is there is still time to get something done. See the COVID mask I'm wearing in the main photo? I had that made by an amazingly talented woman in my church, cost me $10, and has the verse that God saved me with, John 3:16. It would be an understatement to say that people noticed it today. When I went grocery shopping at Publix after church, everyone looked at me or spoke with me was captive to reading it. See how easy it is to get something done for you. See how easy it is to get something done for the Lord if you want to. Now, that's a whole lot different than saying, oh, well, this is for people that are forced to wear them. He's presenting as if, oh, no, this is a great witnessing tool. You ought to get one. And like I said, he is selling them. Not for because you're forced to wear one. He's selling them because if you want to use it as a witnessing tool. That's what he says right here. I mean, you can clearly see that's what he said. But again, I'll give my response here. Well, my name is Jacob M. Thompson. I'm the guy that graciously tried sending you a copy of my book that brother Bryan Denlinger even helped edit. That's my book, The Lord of Glory. For those who don't know, you can check that out here on the Wine Press. I am the guy that messaged you on Mudflower to have my website built. The Wine Press, no response. So you either knew who I was and rejected me, or you do not want competition. And just to show you too here, again, you go to his YouTube channel. Okay, he knows who Bryan Denlinger is. He recommends his channels we like. He recommends Bryan Denlinger, so he knows precisely, who this is. I mean, again, you can see Bryan's done videos on the Wine Press, and I'm a guest on there a few times, and a few other videos I've been on there. So it's not like he doesn't know who I am. And again, I've emailed Jeff some of my other materials before. I've emailed him before on my private personal email address. So it's not like he doesn't know who I am. So that's why I said what I said. I address some of that later on. So just to be clear, this isn't some game between him and I or whatever. Don't think that. Which I addressed that in the comments later on. But I said this here. I said here in Indiana, where we are forced, quote unquote, to wear masks, near South Bend, where Buttigieg hailed from, I walk in and do my deal. No one cares, and the employees smile at me and say, "Hello, Jacob. How is selling them fixing the problem?" You see, you can complain about it, but you're just adding fuel to the fire. Case in point, if you want the draconian tyranny to be stunted, don't aid in the problem. What is so hard to understand about that? I mean, it's just, and that's why it made me angry, because it's like, myself, again, I'm not trying to vaunt myself here, I'm not trying to, oh, look at me, everybody. Folks, if you've been reading the Wine Press, myself and many others that have been sending me stuff and all other stuff, we have been trying very hard to fight against this stuff, and then to have a, Christian leader here just undercut all this stuff, it's ridiculous. So then I said here, your article where you officially debuted the mask tells a different story. Then there's that quote from my article. So then my response was, how would anyone interpret that? I also love how you ignore the blatant lie you told about Trump again. And let me address this. So I mentioned this in my report. This is the main thing where I said he posted fake news. This was the article right here that he posted on June 2nd of 2020. He wrote the article titled "Defying His Enemies, President Trump walks to burn church and lifts up the King James Bible, driving the enemies of God into again, tongue twisted, driving the enemies of God into apocalyptic frenzy." Excuse me. I said this is a flat out lie. The article goes on to praise him like he always does, and almost made it out to be like Trump is some man of God. And then this is what he says in the article. But what drove the New World Order elites and the latest Highlands over the edge was when he lifted up that seven sealed King James Bible. In that singular moment, the world was reminded where the world was reminded where the real battle lies. Excuse me. And you can see the picture there. It's not a King James. That's a Revised Standard Version. That's very clear. Now, we have a few more comments back and forth in that thread, and never, as I said, never one time does he address this. My comment to him about that, or the thing about him pandering to conservatives. So you go over here to the article, and I just decided to go check it out. And now again, he didn't tell me this, and he didn't tell anyone in the thread or anyone else this. Look what he did. He conveniently updated. He put a little update there on the day I rebuked him, March 7th. This is the day that I called him on the comment section. Didn't tell me, didn't tell his thread, didn't put it back up on the front page and say, "Hey guys, I'm wrong, I'm sorry," or whatever. He didn't do that. He quietly updated his article. So if anyone ever comes across this, later in time they can say, oh well, he's just, well, you can see his response here. When I first wrote this, I reached out to a contact on the Trump prayer team asking if it was a King James Bible. I was assured it was. I highly doubt that. Could be wrong, but I don't believe that. As it turns out, it was not. With all the crazy events happening last year, I forgot to update it. June 2nd. And then forgot about it entirely as new items came across my desk, but he just conveniently decides to update it the day I call him out, right? But I noted in my report, and I said, I encourage you to check out the comment section of his post. A large number of people pointed out that Trump held up a RSV, and some even provided pictures. However, the article was not, I'm sorry, that looks to be a typo there, excuse me. However, that article was not retracted or corrected. As a matter of fact, a ministry friend and Wine Press contributor told Mr. Guy that he was wrong, and it got him banned. That means Geoffrey knows that he is wrong, but is too prideful to correct himself. If Mr. Guy can only post false information like that, then not allow himself to be corrected, we then have to question anything he posts. Sad but true. And as I said, you go down in the comment section, he makes a bunch of other things where he's just cheerleading for Trump. You can read it yourself. But immediately, right up front, the comments, the day it came out, 9 months ago when it came out, he held up a Westcott Hort Vatican version RSV, not a King James, RSV, not a King James, picture, not a King James, all on the same day. Someone says this, Trump can hold the Bible all he wants. He doesn't follow it or care what it says in it. If he did, he would know that he is a sinner and he is a sinner and in need of a savior. But when he says with his own mouth he has never had he has never had the need to ask for forgiveness, says it all right there. He's a third degree Mason. Totally agree. Sorry, that's my stomach there. If you heard that, that growl noise. Someone else again point out again, but called him out directly on the same day. Again, point not a King James. And then even someone said he's a Jesuit. Yes, he is. He was trained at Georgetown University. All of his children, well, most of his children, are trained at Georgetown University or some other Jesuit university. Excuse me. Trump actually went to Fordham. So I apologize. I apologize if I said Georgetown. No, he went to Fordham. Some of his children went to Georgetown. Excuse me. But totally Jesuits. And again, folks, let's just stop and pump the brake here for a minute. We're talking about some guy here that's part of the 0.000028%. That's like the percentage of all the billionaires in the world. He's a part of that club right there, and now he's some sort of godsend, like, he's God's man who's gonna come in there and fix America and bless them and all this sort of stuff. No. And if you've been reading the Wine Press, you know that. Just some of the most trivial things we have called out, and we're like, no, this is not true. But you won't get that from Now Then Begins, because again, as I call him out on, all he does is pander to conservatives, and he tells them exactly what they want to hear, which I'll address more of that in a moment. But I mean, it goes on. Again, somebody points out again the Alice Smith dinner, pointing that he was totally pandering to the papacy. This is before the one in 2020, but again, great point, exactly. That's a really bad Photoshop there. I mean, it keeps going. I mean, I'm not going to show all this, but I mean, someone says, called it a publicity stunt. I agree. He's trying to get votes. I totally agree. If there's one thing you gotta know about politicians, they are three things they always do. They always talk about children, education, and they always hide behind the Bible. They all do it. Bush did it, Obama did it, Trump did it, and Biden's gonna be doing the same thing. Well, and he already kind of is, but more so coming up. And of course some are just blindly defending. But again, someone points to the fact, hey, look, yeah, same, cleanse, the Bible, up in front of a church. What's the difference? And I totally agree. It's just a political stunt, or the one where he's like, where Trump says, "Oh, I'm the chosen one," and like I said, read the comments for yourself. There's a ton of them, but the point is, you don't need the Trump prayer team to tell you whatever it was. The comments blatantly said that day you were wrong, Geoffrey Grider. I highly doubt he's watching this, but Jeff, this is a total lie, and you know it. You only updated it because I called you out on it. But you didn't tell me that. You couldn't admit to me in the comment section. You couldn't admit to me, to the rest of the people in that thread, or you're not making this article public. like you're not putting it back on the front page and saying, hey guys, I made a mistake, I got called out and I'm wrong or whatever, right? You didn't do that. You didn't do that. And this is just, and again, who cares what the Trump prayer team says? Even if, okay, which again, another thing here too, if the Trump prayer team really did tell him it's the King James Bible, well, that just shows you that the Trump administration are just a bunch of liars, as I've proven time and time again on the wine press. But, but like I said, I frankly don't believe that. Could be wrong, but I think Jeff just made that up on the fly, And so, like I said, also another thing too, where I mentioned, just to get briefly on this, where I mentioned the whole thing about how he's pandering to conservatives. No, not that one. Rush Limbaugh has endorsed his thing when he was still alive. And for a while, Geoffrey had a big old thing on his sidebar, thanking Rush and linking him to his thing. Well, he explains in this article that he got a huge influx of followers when Rush Limbaugh name dropped him and quoted a tiny piece of his article. And so then his viewership just went through the roof. And hey, and I'm going to say something. If the Lord wants to increase a man's ministry, hey, praise the Lord for that. The Lord's been greatly increasing the wine press. So I'm not saying like, oh, he's getting views or he's getting traction. It's not it at all. I'm just saying though, Rush Limbaugh. And so now if you watch Geoffrey's stuff through the years, it's just more and more and more just pandering to Republicans. And if you don't believe me, go through his last 50-some posts. You're going to see all the sources are all conservative across the board. Mostly. And that's why he's got that slant to it. But then he says down here, I don't know if Rush was saved or not. I only know I prayed for his salvation every time I remembered in the 7 years since. So thank you, Rush Limbaugh. Hope to see you in heaven. Folks, I just say it for what it is. Rush Limbaugh was not a saved man, okay? Rush Limbaugh taught a new age Jesus, a very watered down, Jesus just loves you type of thing. I mean, again, Rush, foul mouth, has had multiple wives, and he died pining away at his sin of chronic smoking. He could not put the packs down. He couldn't do it. And he was also arrested at one point in time for being on drugs. That's what the Bible says in Romans chapter 6, verse 23, for the wages of sin is death. So, he reaped to the flesh, and he sowed corruption out of it. So, but the point is, that's where he's getting all his views from, so that's why he has to just ignore all this stuff. Just keep ignoring all the bad stuff that Trump says or does or whatever. And like I said, I can go down the list. I want to keep this video short as I can. It's gone longer than I wanted to already, but again, you get a bunch of responders here, and again, you can read them if you want, and then then people start figuring out who I am, and some guy here, Rancher Joe. I'll make a mention of this in a moment here, because now this guy wants to correct me on the Trinity, which is kind of funny, which I'll address that in a moment. But then they post the thing, oh, Bryan Denlinger, and then they're all calling out Bryan Denlinger, he's evil bad. And again, which is also funny for a guy that recommends Bryan Denlinger on his website here. It's kind of funny how, again, Grider never corrects these people and says, hey, I don't really agree with this, this JT guy, but, Bryan's okay or whatever. He don't do that either. So, yeah. And so then, he sounds young and immature in the Lord. Hope he can correct himself. Let's see. So then he says, so you're bitter that you didn't get what you wanted when you... I'm sorry. You're so bitter that you didn't get what you wanted when you wanted it. Well, it's like... Let me stop right there. I'm coming to you, Jeff. You make websites. That's your business. It's one of your businesses. You make websites. And I wanted you to make a website. Like, that's what you offer. Like, don't you want to make money? That's why you're in business. And if you think in terms of now then begins and your site is competition, which you obviously do, no, we don't, then you are doing it for you and not for the Lord. There's no competition in the Lord's harvest field. So sad you look at it that way. Again, which I don't. I address that here in a second. You might want to correct yourself. You might want to correct your self-centered attitude if you want anything you're working on to make it through the judgment seat fire. Oh, give me a break. I'm so sorry I never saw your email, but your attitude stinks, folks. Look, we're all gonna have works burn at the judgment seat of Christ. No question about that at all. I've got plenty of things I'm going to get burned, and it's just going to be a very fearful time of like, man, all that time I wasted in the flesh, whatever else. Same here, no question about it. But to sit there and throw that at me, the judgment seat of Christ, you were caught lying. You're caught lying. I called you out on two major lies right there. I just showed the proof. And he wants to talk to me about the judgment seat of Christ. Give me a break, you know? So then my response is, if you want to divert attention from yourself and put it back on me, go for it. I only use the word competition because I am left wondering, why would Jeff ignore me? Because as I said, I've emailed him before. He knows who I am. If he watches Bryan's videos, and he has to know who I am. It's not like this is a mystery, you know? Let me be perfectly clear here. So I just want to say, hopefully everyone out there understands why I said what I said. Because it's not a competition. Let me be perfectly clear here. I am not out to compete with you or anyone else. I am not trying to set myself up as the sole authority or something like that among the body of Christ. I'm just trying to do the very best that I can with the resources, talents, and gifts the Lord has given me. But since you want to ignore my other points and try to spin it like I am some glory hog, then you are just being disingenuous, to say the least. And then you want to talk to me about the judgment seat of Christ. Your actions remind me a lot of Robert Breaker and his crowd. Of course, the the comment section lights up with that one. As soon as someone makes a fair criticism, he and his followers spin it backwards because they cannot answer the critique, and then talks about the great works and rewards he has done and earned. For those who don't know who Robert Breaker is, he's this guy who's on YouTube. Total hireling, total fake. The guy is a date setter. Well, I'm not a date setter. I'm just talking about it, whatever. And I have myself and people like Bryan and others have... It exposed his just blatant lies. Like, it's not even like up for debate. It's like he flat out just lied and just made stuff up out of thin air, And if you ever dare, I'm talking, make the tiniest critique of that guy, Breaker and his crowd just goes bananas. So one of these days I might say something on the Wine Press about him. I've already done videos on my YouTube channel. If you want to check out more about Robert Breaker, check him out. In my YouTube channel. But anyways, if you want to read it, but I continue here by saying, but if you want to, there's a typo there. But if you want to redirect all the attention on me, like all good liars, and then have your subscribers defend your every word, be my guest. The scripture for that is, where's it at? Proverbs 11:14, where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. Well, you can pick your counselors, you can get rid of the ones you want to hear and the ones you don't want to hear. So he gets to hide behind everyone that says, "Ooh, you're meanie." And again, people defending Jeff and attacking me, and people are like, "Oh, why you attack Robert Breaker?" And you're full of hate, which is literally what Breaker followers say all the time. They never address the attacks; they just divert. But no, this is his final response to me. No, not all. It was you who came in here to use our site to promote your site, while at the same time casting aspersions and insulting me. I could have you banned. I could have you removed I could have removed your self-promotion post, but I did none of those things. If you would like to be part of the Now the End Begins community, you will need to employ some manners and a basic level of respect. We are Christians. Please act like it. I guess being a Christian means lying and leaving out facts and stuff like that. But he deleted my final response. Go figure. But I was screenshotting along the way, so again, hopefully you can see this. My camera might be cutting some of this off, so I apologize. But it's a lengthy response, but I screenshot it because I figured it was going to get deleted, so I screenshotted it. But anyway, here you go. So what I said, Mr. Guard, this will be my final response. I have no intention of going back and forth on this, as I imagine you do not either. Let's go back to square one of my initial response. Yes, I admit to you and anyone in this thread that I was a bit triggered when I saw your post, or when I saw you post, I will not wear a mask, because Ryder, that is being disingenuous. Unless you can provide me a post to where you explicitly say you sell the mask for those that are forced to wear one, then I have to conclude that you are compromising, which he is. I proved it. I mean, he has no article where he says that. Now, if someone can correct me on that, okay, I'll take back that statement, but I don't know of any. Even if you are selling them for those that are forced to wear one, why do you choose not to see that by selling them you are part of the draconian overreach? The lost world now more than ever is looking for true Christians to wax bold and show them that there is something different to those Christians. They are not all like the rest. But by selling them, you are making the fight all the more difficult, because the very people you attack want you to cave in. So this is why my comment came off abrasive. And again, you have not addressed my other points about you lying about Trump and how you are purposely ignoring so many things that Trump has done and that Trump has done that has no defense for. I have read and recommended your stuff for years, so I know you are an intelligent man, and I do not say that to smooze you, but I actually mean that, and yet you refuse to cover those things. You know just as well as I do that most of your donations come from staunch conservatives that only want to be told what they want to hear and not given broader horizons to critically think and discern. Again, the wine press, hey, whoever defends, sorry, it is what it is. We cover both sides, and we are very clear. Folks, do not trust the media. Which, by the way, my report over here I did, at one point, there's another article where I show this, where he actually, where is this at? Where is it at? There's a part in here where he openly calls Tucker Carlson like the last teller of truth. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, he says Tucker Carlson's the last teller of truth in the mainstream media. You know, like what? And I even show a thing on my on the wine press. You know, Fox News to continue to target the center right, and the CEO Lachlan Murdoch explains like that they are literally we're gonna target the center right because you know like that's the market, and we're gonna target. And see, it's all about pandering to one side. You're not giving the full story. You're just telling what a specific audience wants to hear, which is what Greider's doing. And just imagine a Bible believer, a professing Kingdom Bible believer, recommending someone in the media and calling him the last truth teller. That's ridiculous. I mean, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, Greider. That's a joke. But you see, that's where his donations come from. So that's why he's not going to change. Where was I at? Instead of wanting Christians to stay away from televisions and the mainstream media, you tell people that media stooges like Tucker Carlson are somehow a last source of truth, or when Biden and Trump are sucking up to the papacy at the Al Smith dinner, and Trump says anti-Catholic bigotry has no place in this country. You go completely silent. Again, if you don't believe me, go look at the video where he said that, which is what people like Denlinger, whom you recommend, said would happen. Truth, Mr. Greider, some of my braceness in my comments comes from years of supporting you, but seeing more things that, frankly, are just not true or are completely neglected. I have read the comment section of your many posts, and I know I'm not the only one thinking that. Again, going back to your blatant lie about Trump, you have been repeatedly corrected on that, and the article still remains up with no correction. Of course, till now, after I called him out on that, then he decided to correct it, but he didn't want to tell me that. Jeff, if you can like that, how am I supposed to trust you on other reports you make? You see what I mean? I felt the Lord call me to do my own site because there is nowhere near enough objective reporting. Even when I had the sentiments I did, I still wanted you to put your professional skills to work and create a great website. But when that was ignored or somehow misplaced, it personally rubbed me the wrong way. And then I suppose you must remember who I am, as I have sent you previous emails to you that you responded to. And with the appearances I have made on Denlinger's channel, even though it seems your chat does not like him. At the end of the day, your comment irritated me because I am fighting hard against this wickedness, not to vaunt myself, but because I love freedom, liberty, justice, equity, and truth. And when you essentially are being wishy-washy about it and feeding the problem, it makes me angry. Hence, why I name drop my site. I know I'm not going to convince you. If you want to remove me, then go ahead. I rarely ever comment anyways. You and I will sleep fine tonight. Mr. Greider, at the end of the day, I have no personal beef with you, quote unquote, but it clearly angered me enough to post because I'm sick and tired of seeing some of the lost world fight harder than Christians and then having the Christian leaders totally beat around the bush with stuff like this. So that's my thoughts on the whole thing. I mean, I think I've clearly proven that he lied. I mean, like I said, Jeff, if you're watching or whatever, one of your supporters, hey, I don't hate you or anything like that, of course not, but hey, you lied. You told blatant lies. I called you out on them, and then you didn't, and then you want to question my manhood, like who are you to without posting your name? Well, I posted my name too. I told you who I am. Now correct yourself to me, but he can't do that because why? He's too proud. And Proverbs 14:5, a faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. I mean, what's there more to say? You're a liar, Jeff. You're a liar. And then, like I said, you want to talk to me about the judgment seat of Christ? Yeah, we'll all have our stuff. All stuff is going to be burned. But, I mean, you flat out lied. And I've even had people tell me that, hey, Greider might be some disinfo agent. I don't know that. I don't have the proof of that. So I'm not going to go and make that claim. But I've had people tell this to me. And I've had many people, by the way, come to me before the wine press was created, and even during it, hey, yeah, man, Geoffrey guy's got some problems that I've seen for years, and I've tried to correct him on some things, and he just won't listen. Well, there you go. And this is why I have to leave him. I mean, he has gone back to the world, and he keeps Laodicea. No, Jeff, you are Laodicean. By not standing against all this other stuff that I've just basic things that I pointed out, you are Laodicean. Again, you know how much this guy just worships and idolizes Trump, right? I have a post right down here. You can go right down here on the prophecy post. Trump attempted to divide Jerusalem. His thing, the deal of the century. Him and all the other prophecy preachers, silent. Absolutely silent. Said nothing about it when his plan meant dividing up more of Jerusalem. And yet Jeff's, champion of Israel, which is important. It is Bible prophecy. I get that. But I'm just saying, all these guys, they make a big stink of it. And, Trump, he's the man. And then he wanted to cut up Israel. And so we won't talk about that. And the list can go on and on and on and on and on. I mean, I can't even post all the stuff that Trump has said or done on my website. There's just not enough time to get to it, to stay current with other stuff that's going on. It's just, because frankly, if you're not convinced with all that's happened, it's just like, okay, well, I can't help you. Sorry. And just a bit of a side note thing. Let me briefly touch on this. Some guy named Rancher Joe, Tennessee, sent this to me. If you saw in that thread, he's gonna correct me on the Trinity. And I saw this, and this absolutely cracked me up when I heard this. Just listen for this for a second.
References to God is something more than one. We'll also find, if we go back and look and see in the scriptures, from the very beginning, God declares himself a Trinity. Genesis 1:1 says, in the beginning, God, and that God is Elohim, which in the Hebrew means gods, created the heavens and the earth. So,
oh man, Trinitarians. We don't believe in different gods. We don't believe in different gods. This guy, Elohim, gods. So then you're admitting then multiple gods then were involved in creation, are you not? Okay. I pointed this out in my book, The Lord of Glory. Okay, you push these guys far enough, you get to the core of it. That's what they believe. That's what they believe. Okay. and by the way, Elohim just means plural. All right. There's a plurality to him. It doesn't automatically mean that there's multiple gods. I cover that in my book. But I thought that was funny. Like, this guy's he's gonna come in and teach you about the Trinity or something. Like, which again, I'm not trying to be pompous here, but it's just, folks, I've done a lot of research into that. Okay, it took me a long time to compile the Lord of Glory. I know what the Trinity teaches. I've heard all the arguments. I've heard all the scriptures. You're not going to tell me what the Trinity says or doesn't say. I know exactly what it teaches. All right. But I saw this and I thought this is just funny. Like, I didn't even finish the video. I just got busted laughing at this. Cause like, okay, you just kind of shot yourself in the foot there, buddy. But anyways, this video's gone on longer than I wanted to, but I just wanted to show this again. I don't get joy out of making these kind of videos. I don't. But like I said, it really angered me when I saw this. And like I said, you can say what you want, folks. This is why we have so many atheists right now. Now, obviously, yeah, there are plenty of very just crazy atheists out there that just they just want nothing more than to commit folly and wickedness. I get that. But there's a lot of atheists too out there that really deep down they're really not even atheists. They're more or less, they understand that God does exist, but they are so ostracized and just so, and they can see through all the false religion. They can see through this stuff, and they're going like, okay, but Trump's contradicting all the stuff you guys believe, or this and this and this, and just on down the list. And they're getting, and a lot of these atheists, they are more inquisitive and actually use equitable judgment in this stuff. And so that they're looking, going, oh, you guys believe a Bible, and you just, whatever, you just wave it around, but you don't really mean it, And they're right. They have a fair point. And so when you have people like in the Plandemic film, for example, a bunch of New Agers, totally lost, self-righteous New Agers, they're coming out with a great film. I don't agree with every single point that you said, but overall, it's a fantastic film. Where are the Christians at? Now I know I'm doing the best I can, and again, people like Bryan, Denlinger, and many others are fighting. Sure, but we need more. But you see, this is how this draconian tyranny stuff that he complains about, it's evil, other stuff, and it's like, but then you make them ask, and even if it's they're forced to, you're making it worse. You're making it worse. How about just don't aid the problem? I mean, I do not understand what's so hard to understand with that, but you see, he's all about this guy right here. He's a part of the world, he loves the world, and he's compromising to it because he has to make donations from all the Rush Limbaugh people that came over and all the other conservatives that he panders to. Period. End of story. The wine press is not about that. We don't do that here. Okay? We will post stuff that, hey, it's offensive to everybody. It is what it is, and we are not afraid to report on anything that that we feel we have to, or whatever, right? It is what it is. If you want some objective reporting where it's not has all this political bias and all sort of stuff, come here to the Wine Press and just give it a read. Again, this is no competition, but there's also nothing wrong with doing a bit of self-promotion either, okay? I think Jeff would agree with me on that. So definitely give it a look if you're interested. It's out there, but like I said, just want to do this little video just refuting this stuff. So it's a shame, but that's where we're at here in 2021. So take whatever, take this as you will. My advice, stay away from him. I think he's a liar because, as I said, if he can lie about that and then be deceitful as he was with me, then how do you know he's being honest with all his other posts? You have to put them to question now. So I said my part. I've rambled on long enough. So hope this was informative. Thank you for your time. Have a great day. God bless you all.